Yes, and you are live, which is
Yeah,
we
yeah.
are live. We are Huang, and
Heiko and the Essence of Truth podcast.
which is all about the freedom and happiness that everybody of us want, but do not know how to get. So let's go.
That's exactly right. And especially today, we talk about the topic that's so big a part of it. Like, in order to feel happy or even to be free, we need health. And in order to be healthy, we need to take care of ourselves. And unfortunately, we got into a time where, first of all, there's a lot of misinformation out there, but also where self care became more this trendy kind of thing that you do to show off, right? And so today we really want to dive deep into all this kind of, like, you can do all the right things where you do the green juice and you have your candles and your bubble baths and whatever you maybe do to take care of yourself. But we want to look deeper into, is it actually nourishing you, the things that you do? Or does it actually feed into something that's destroying your psychology? Where, if you take care of yourself and you're still anxious, you're still nervous, you still have wounds and get triggered by others all the time, or you're questioning your worth, or if you're good enough, and all these kind of things that are talked a lot about. But we really want to dive deep into, like, if what you do actually makes you happy, actually increases your self-love, maybe even your ego, your confidence, and what to really do, what to focus on, and how to do it right for you. So it's not like we telling you what to do like many others do, but we just want to give you a guideline of what you should look out for, because at the end you have to make the decision for yourself. And I know I fell for this trap for a long time, where I did all these things, that you see online, and the tips and all these things. And I thought I'm doing good for myself. I thought I do to improve my health, to get stronger, and all these kind of things. But I was actually breaking down. Like, my physical body broke down. I developed an autoimmune disease, and also mentally, emotionally, like, I was a wreck. I hit rock bottom. I was depressed for a long time. And so many insecurities, especially social anxiety and stuff. And many of things actually they just stayed where they were, or they got worse, until I found a better path. And so today we really want to dive deep into that, and I'm hoping that you get a lot out of this. But before we jumping into it, I also want to say that if you have any questions, any insights, anything that comes to you as you're listening to this, maybe even your own story or parts of it, like, please share it with us. You can put it in the comment section, or you can send us a message if you want to keep it private. But, like, we are here to help, and I believe that by sharing each other's experiences, it's the best way to do that, right? We grow as a community. And so please do that, and of course take notes as we go along. But Juan, like, first off, what are your thoughts about this topic?
My thoughts about self-love. Wow. Hey, what do I hear echoes on your end? Do you also hear
Okay,
that?
let me mute my
Okay, the echoes is gone now, but do you also hear the echoes, or is it just me alone?
I didn't hear the echo, but
Oh,
I just keep just keep myself muted while you're talking.
okay. Oh wow, now suddenly the noises on my end, it feels very static. It's feel kind of, but okay. Beside the point. So, all right. My thought on the topic of self love, self care. Right. Wow. That is a very big topic. I would say. So the first thing I need to ask you is, what is your definition of love, and what is your definition of loving of self? Right? How much do we know about ourselves to do that? And I know that I can resonate a lot with what you just shared, doing things to have recognition, from the outside. And the funny thing about it is that when we were as a kid, um, it's different. We need to know if what we do is right or what is wrong from our parents. And after that, when we break free from, our breaking free, that's what we believe, right? But they were really helping us to step into the thing. When we were as a teenager and breaking free from that and having our own thing. our own personality and all that stuff by blending with our peers. And hey, I mean, let's be honest, all of us do that somewhere along the line. We want to be liked and we want to be loved. And how we kind of know that if we are not being taught to think for ourselves, then we kind of depend on others. First is our parents and then our peers. And after our peers, some of us never get to the point of, um, doing the things that for us is healthy and for ourselves. So we keep on doing that until the end of life, and then we never get to experience the truth of self-love. Lucky for me, I was there, and now I'm not anymore. And sometimes in our darkest moment, our our biggest, what we call, curse is actually our most profound blessing. So yeah. And Coach Heiko here, our brother here, he have something to say about that, don't he?
Yeah, first off, I really want to thank you for highlighting that because it's really true. Like when you think about as a child, you don't think about self-care or self-love. Right? You're brushing your teeth because you're told to, or you jump into the shower or something because you're told to. But we don't think in these terms. But what we do, we comply because in order to survive, like we must follow, what parents tell us, authorities, teachers, whatever. And it comes in the later stage where we get to question the things that we do, if they're healthy for us or not. And like for me, especially when I got my autoimmune disease, this made me think and question the things that I do and research for more information. And so what I've learned, like with self-care and self-love, also like thank you for bringing up these terms. I think there's a huge difference there because when I first looked into, okay, like how do I live healthy? How do I take better care of myself? Then obviously nowadays you look online, but then you see a lot of what I call performance self-care, right? You see a lot of people that they do their makeup and diets and green juices and stuff. I'm not saying that any of these are wrong, but what I've realized, I tried a lot of things not because I really love to do them or they will nourish me, but because either others did it, or friends recommended it, and I could talk about it. But I realized I did it for validation, for recognition, for social expectations. And this is what I see so many do now, where there's something is in trend, like maybe journaling is in trend. So people make videos about it, put it online, getting the likes and loves and whatever. But if at the end of the day, the journaling doesn't bring me anything, I'm still having my anxiety, I still don't know why I do what I do, why I get these triggers, and panic attacks are coming up, or I'm just shy and I'm afraid to talk to somebody or something. Then there's something missing. So for me, there's the performance self-care, where you do the things you should do, that look good on Instagram, but they are all like checklists. Okay, this I'm good for today, but it doesn't really nourish me. Or I focus more on appearances than how I actually feel inside. Right. So this is, to me, this is performance self-care, something that I can showcase or talk about or something like that in order to get validation. And it's usually stuff that's recognized as being nice, feeling good, like also like massages and stuff. Like I love massages, don't get me wrong. But I find if we get into the terms of self-love, this goes much deeper and it's not always pleasure. Like the biggest changes I had in my life that led to overcoming my social anxiety, that led to overcome my autoimmune disease, were actually the hard things or the boring things. And it all starts first with awareness. So the first things that I did, I was kind of, I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity because it was like a Zen Buddhism retreat back in the days. I didn't really know what it was, but it kind of felt like this could be an answer. Because before I was just reactive to everything, right? And this, I thought about it would slow me down, bring some awareness, which it did. It's boring as hell. Basically, the whole retreat was a weekend sitting in front of a white wall, so we have no visual simulation, something like that, and just being still, just observing you, nothing else. There's no other sound or something like that. And the only thing that was there, like if they noticed you driven off, it would be somebody behind you and like slap you with like some kind of stick to basically bring you back into the moment. So basically, the whole weekend I spent completely just being present with myself, observing myself, the thoughts in my head. And it was super boring, it was super uncomfortable, but it was extremely rewarding because I started noticing what I'm actually thinking about. Making worst case scenarios in my head, or like anything that makes me negative or what others think about me, and it made me realize no wonder I had so much social anxiety. No wonder I was so stressed all the time because I was just focusing on validation, on appearance, on how others perceive me. And it started the journey to discover what do I want, what feels good for me. And first, I started doing things, still sharing them, still hoping I would get recognition for it. Like, changing diets and stuff. Big topic for years now. But it literally changed a lot. Right? Bettered my conditions with autoimmune disease, lowered my pain. So I was excited about it. I wanted to share it. But people didn't always want to hear. But I wanted still to share it. I wanted the recognition and validation for it. But I learned then, like, wait a minute, like, this is my journey. And so over a period of time, I did so many more things. And like now I have a whole regime of things that I do to keep myself healthy, to measure my health or happiness, for that sake, to take care of my mental and emotional well-being. And I do a lot of stuff. And many of these things are uncomfortable, right? Facing your fears, facing your inner demons, kind of thing. Many of them are boring, but they nourish me, they help me grow, and they made me to the person that I am today. This is what I consider self-love. So don't get me wrong, I do a lot of stuff to treat me well, right? Getting massages, going to the sauna, just enjoying the beach somewhere or something like that. If you follow me, like, I spent the whole last year in Vietnam, which was so amazing to just, chill out, something like that. But it's all about it. And I think where it really comes down to is the intention behind it. Do I do it for myself because I deserve it, I want it, it's nourishing me, it helps me grow? Or do I do it to talk about it, showcase it, post videos about it, to get validation from it? What's the reason behind it? And with the awareness that I developed, I then also noticed if I'm doing it for myself, there's calmness, there's peace, there's enjoyment, even if I go into discomfort, because I choose to discomfort. But I see the carrot on the stick, I see the reward that's coming from doing this, right? Which drives me to do it. Or am I doing it out of lack, out of insecurity, out of validation, which then usually has some form of tension or stress behind it, and it doesn't feel nourishing. Like a little bit maybe, but it's basically gone the next day. And so this is to me the difference. And like, please tell me your opinion about it. Maybe you have a completely different view. I'm not saying my perspective on this is the cure, right? I just say this is what I learned. Like real self-love, like self-care that actually comes from self-love, to nourish, to grow, can be pleasant, can be discomfort, but it's doing the work for your future self. And if I do something that's for external validation out of insecurities or something that triggers my survival, then this might be the wrong reason for it. And I want to highlight that because the reason can be wrong. Not the thing that you do, right? Getting massage or something that is so good for your body. Getting hopping into a sauna or ice bath is so good for your body. But what's the reason behind it? Are you doing it because it's trendy right now? People talk about it because you genuinely want to do something good for yourself. Like, that's my perspective. And I'm curious, like, Juan, what you have to say about it, because one thing I know about you, like, you put so many hours into stretching, into getting into discomfort, holding the discomfort, but it grows you, right? To me, even that is it's a form of self-help. So I'm really curious what your perspective on that is, especially also in regards to, your history, your story of, when you hit rock bottom and stuff.
I really love what you share about, the reason behind it, right? The reason behind you do something, it does matter. And the thing you do may be right, but the reason you can do the right thing for the wrong reason, well, I mean, how do you feel, right? Does it really nurturing you or it literally draining you, right? Creating even more disconnection, create even more ang- anxiety, anxious, right? You're going down, no matter what you do for the wrong reason, and it's, well, it will destroy your soul, your essence itself. And we are here all about the essence of true, right? And before I move into further into that, I'm kind of curious, Coach Heiko. After we doing the live, I think something on a microphone maybe on your end. Could you take a look at it because the voice is it's I'm not sure if it's just me or at the end of the thing we will discover that. But let's take a quick look at it.
Yeah, just continue, and I check the
Okay,
settings.
okay,
But
okay.
yeah, just continue. I
Okay.
mute myself in the meantime.
Okay. Because when you were talking, I still hear a lot of that, static thing. It's like something is on the, but okay. Um, wanna, okay. All right. So let's see. Um, yeah. For me, it was, well, where should I begin? Um, for me it's about safety, right? I have to do something that other people like, especially like giving my power away. That's what I call. And I give my power away to friends, to parents, to teacher, to anyone that I see as an authority. And in that way, doing things because I want to please them, even though it's the right thing to do. In the end it's draining my soul, right? Just to survive. And I think there's you can be successful and yet dead inside, feel dead inside. And many throughout history has proven that. And one of the person which is a great treasure in America, I think the world treasure, I would say, and his name was Robin Williams, right? He was literally someone that, well, he had massive success. He make the world laugh, right? He has Nobel Prize, right? And he say he gonna have his own show, and he did it. So he achieved everything in life, and he hanged himself, and that is the price in the end that like some of us already pay. That's no longer here, and some of us will be paying if we continue to that part. The actions or the things that destroy us, destroy our soul. So that was one of the things that bring me into my rock bottom, where I destroy my mind and just destroy my body that was broken. And the things I could do, I couldn't anymore. Losses of dreams, mission, vision, everything was gone. And that was when I needed to go into a healing journey. And that is when I discovered the choice of choices. I didn't know I had choices until I do the choices. I choose myself, right? And to be aware of those choices, to be able to build myself up, right? And later to be able to share that with people worldwide as well. So it has such a great impact on my life. So yeah, I'm curious, what were yours? What are the thoughts? What are the actions? What were the things that you, like me in the past, has done? That bringing you away from yourself, that draining you instead of giving you the soul energy, or giving you, the satisfactory, or the truth that is aligned, with yourself. Share with us.
Well, I hope it sounds a bit better now. Like I couldn't do too much about it right now. I would have to, after this thing, like do something.
Okay.
But yeah, first off, great question. And it simply comes down to I started doing lots of movements, building my body up. Right back then, I was at scoliosis, I had a lot of back pain, and I noticed when I'm building up muscle, then I'm having less back pain because the spine has basically less to stabilize. And so I basically became obsessed with it, did a lot of different works, weightlifting, calisthenics, started doing chun, and I started literally building myself up. I started developing a lot of strength, became a bit more confident, and things started to develop in a great way, and I felt great about myself. The thing is, our body is so good at hiding disease. And so while I was doing all this work, I also created a lot of inflammation in my body. Plus, back then, I read different kind of articles about what's good about you. The thing like sometimes, hey, coffee is good, but this study shows coffee is bad. Next one says it's good again. So back then, I drank coffee and lots of other things, and protein shakes, and all these things that were out there to where I thought I would nourish myself, and I thought I was building myself up. But then things hit, I had the autoimmune disease, and everything was basically falling apart. And I was wondering, like, why is it? Is it genetics, or where does it come from? But the truth to this is, I built myself into it because with all the training that I did and the food that I ate, and basically the lifestyle that I had, I created a lot of inflammation, high cortisol in my body, and it just was basically a matter of time until it broke down. Also, my adrenal glands was just firing all the time because of the caffeine and because I just pushed myself all the time. And the funny thing is, I didn't feel it. Like, I felt better than before. I had energy. Even I was running on 4 hours sleep, and I felt great. But I was running on adrenaline most of the time, and I didn't know. And this is, to me, this is a huge example for, like, if we just focus on how we feel about something, it can be tricky. So what I do now is I get data because data doesn't lie. So I even spend a lot of money to find out where's my body, how's my blood like, what are my organs like literally finding out what is the status of health, fitness, strength, whatever, of each body part of mine. Where do I, have deficits? Where do I need to improve? Where maybe do I have too much and I need to balance things out? And I go with real data. And since I did that, like, it's so much better. And I have consistent well-being. I haven't gone sick for I don't know even how many years now, and never had any symptoms, any problems with autoimmune disease again. And things were just basically falling into place, so to speak. But the thing is, I made it happen, and it all came from experience and literally switching from the performance self-care, as I call it, to real self-love and doing what's necessary at any moment. And sometimes it can be the boring stuff, sometimes it can be facing your demons, sometimes it can be pleasurable. But really checking in what's really going on and not just trusting your own feelings because they can be manipulated, they can be over force, over states, people in our life, they all influence us. And so it's really hard to recognize that, especially when you're acting from a need. And I really had a huge need for validation and recognition. And by doing all the stuff back then, I got it. People were like, man, this is awesome. Like, all the things that you do, like, how do you even do that? I felt great about it. But my body didn't. Right? And so we really want to take care of that. And being able to put numbers on it. And I think we're so lucky that we have so many possibilities now to check our health, to get real data, and to act upon it. I think this is a huge blessing. And I'm curious, like, Juan, like, how do you deal with these things? How do you make sure you're good, so to speak?
My good, my good. Um, wow, a lot of things come to my mind, and then I draw blank. That is so funny. You gotta help me out here. Wow, does it ever happen to you? Suddenly you have so many ideas that you can share, and then suddenly it's just gone blank.
Of course, it happens. It happens. But like, I mean, just from your experience with everything you did, what would you consider having be really nourishing for you? And what were the things where you think, like, okay, that actually was negative, or maybe something where you perform something, you perform self-care in order to get maybe validation of something, versus when you did something entirely for yourself and you didn't feel any need to talk about it, to showcase it, but just was nourishing for you.
I would say one of the thing, actually everything is a pile up of things, right? When we are sick, it's not because we go out once and that's why we're sick. I love the oh man, I love is that a her or is him? I love it. Um, it, but it's actually a accumulating of things, and the same thing for burnout, the same thing for depression, the same thing for many other things as well. It's accumulation from, and more often than not, we don't realize that. So luckily, I do feel the shift. When you are aware, and I had to become like this to heal myself, or else I was stuck inside the house forever. I still remember I couldn't even get out of the house without having extreme anxiety, extreme pain in my physical body and emotionally as well. So it is in the moment when I say yes to something that I do not to stand for, right, or saying no to something I like, because I put that power, on other people, and in this term, the validation of other people instead of validation of myself, because I'm the one that's got to validate myself first. Because if I don't do that, who else gonna do it for me? What? Him, her, she, it? I don't know. Maybe a piece of text, from Facebook, from Instagram, from something else, somewhere else. I'm gonna put my validation on there. That means I'm gonna be their slave forever. And I was a slave, due to my own, how do you call it? My own misperception, right? Misconception, misperception, until I discovered that, hey, every time when I make the choice, it's either gonna be like, ah, that feels good, or when I make the choice, like, you know, I don't like it, but I do it, right? Or, yeah, yeah. So recognizing where that is, either you say yes or no to something that you either stand for or against, and notice that shift inside of you. Of course, sometimes in life we have to do things we don't like, right? But when it put into long terms, how does that makes you feel? How much of your soul is left, right? Did you sell your soul and for just a compliment, for just validation? Did you sell yourself for that? Is it something else? Or are you building yourself, your soul? It's something I call the ego as well. So yeah, that is how I see, and that has been really helpful for me throughout the year, to building up and also playing around with it. I love to be playful, playing around with it, and with that, could be more fun. What about you guys?
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think you shared actually my takeaway for today just now, when you said, like, you have to come first. You have to validate yourself first, because otherwise, and this is the thing, right? This is the trap. Otherwise, even if you get so much validation from the people around you, it will never be enough, because it's lacking from yourself. It's lacking at the core of it. And funny enough, when you shift that and you validate yourself, feel like you deserve it, you own it, then you don't even need that anymore from others. It's a really funny thing that's actually happening there. But it's so true, and it's I think one of the biggest traps we people, we humans fall into, where when you need the outside to validate it, it will never be enough. And you will always need more. And the problem is, it's never in your control. Like, think about celebrities who maybe, they have great movies or something, they have a great following. Maybe they are successful for a decade, but then they react one time weird to, like, paparazzi or something like that, and it's all over the news, and then everybody's shifting their perspective on that. So you can't control it, but you can't control the meaning you give to yourself, right? The validation you give for yourself. And so, thank you, Juan, that this is going to be my takeaway. I love it. And I think it's a great reminder every single day of our lives.
Thank you for that, brother. And yeah, my my takeaway it's actually close, right? So close to each other's. My takeaway is the intention, right? The reason behind you do something. It's been my liberation, been yours, and because we all are human, what works for us will work for you too. So my takeaway is, that intention, attention, the reason why, and I'm curious about yours, guys. What is your reason for doing something, right? For saying yes to something, for saying no to something, right? And don't tell me about my intuition. Tell me that, or my, whatever it is. Do you recognize the difference between your emotions and your intuitions? Many don't. Many mistake their fear, their anxiety, right? For the past, I did. I know. For the intuitions, mistaking your feelings or your emotions for intuitions is a very, very interesting part to walk upon. And I've done that, and I had to get out of it. So I'm curious about yours, right? Your reason, and also the difference between intuitions and emotion. And did you recognize that? All right, guys. That were my takeaways. I'm curious about yours. Did I say it already?
Yeah, definitely. Like we are interested in your takeaways and your stories. So anything you have to share about today, we welcome it with an open heart. Because as I said at the beginning, this is how we grow. This is how we connect. This is how we can learn with each other. And I think this is a really great place to do that. And so yeah, also we're interested in your takeaways and your maybe your questions, your tips, anything. Like you can either comment them or send us a message, and we make sure to answer as soon as possible. That being said, though, I'm out for today. Looking forward for next time. And if you have any topic you would like us to cover, then please send it to us as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I would say, guys, remember who you truly are.
And remember the power of creation you possess.
And does it, guys, make the choice that's nurturing your essence and your soul, or ending up like us in the past, or even worse. So make sure that you got it, okay? That power.
You got it. You got
All
it.
right, all right. Take care,
Take care,
guys.
guys.
See you next time. Bye.